Rachel Ayers. We're here in St. Clairsville, Ohio for round number 12 of the Can-Am Grand National Cross Country Series. This is the ITP Powerline Park GNCC. With 2 rounds to go in the 2007 season, the championship is still up for grabs. With 3 riders still in contention for the championship, today could be a deciding factor in who will take home our prestigious GNCC title. KTM's David Knight struggled to perform after racing the night before in Colorado. He managed to finish 7th overall to keep his Can-Am Series points lead over Hawk and Mullins secure. Today the pressure is on KTM's David Knight to return to the winner's circle, which would bring him 1 step closer to his first ever GNCC title. Now let's go down to the start with Jason.
Thanks a lot, Rachel. Jason Wygant going to give you the call today. There's Charlie Mullins, who won our last GNCC when we raced in North Carolina. Jimmy Jarrett, a lightning-quick starter, and he does call the Buckeye State home, so he should be strong today, especially if he can get one of those customary good starts in the dusty conditions that we're expecting. Number 13 here, Lucky 13. That's Garrett Evanston, a privateer who's turned a lot of heads in 07. And Glenn Carney looks pumped today, hoping to get back to the early season form that he had when he was one of the fastest riders in this series. But an illness has taken away a lot of his energy. All right, here we go. It's time to go racing here in Ohio, and the start will be ultra critical today because of the dust. It has not rained here in months, and that makes it very hard to pass because it'll be hard to see. Into the first turn we go. And it looks like a sea of yellow. The Suzuki boys have got it dialed in, but look at this around the outside. Did not even see him in our first shot. Charlie Mullins has got your RaceRex Whole Shot Award. Just snuck around the outside. He's got Jarrett behind him, and Knight has snuck into third. And that's bad news for the rest of these guys. Everyone had to be hoping that Knight would be stuck in the back in the dust. He is not known for good starts, but he got one when he needed it. And his chief rival, Barry Hawk, just went by. Hawk's at about 10th. It's going to be tough for Barry, who we talked to earlier today.
He had 2 races left. I'm 12 points out of the lead, and the difference from first to fourth place is 12 points. So realistically, if I was winning today and Knight would finish 4th, we'd be tied going into the last one. And makes for good spectating, good racing. So definitely not wishing any bad luck on anybody, but I need a good race today and have those guys behind me. And the start's going to be a huge factor today. So hopefully I can get a good start, stay up front all day, and
That's the problem. Hawk has a strategy that he has every race, but he was unable to execute it. A bad start, while meanwhile Mullins is gone. And you see in these dusty field sections how difficult it would be to get around him because he's leaving a trail behind him, and it's going to be hard to see, and then you're taking chances. Mullins is very, very fast. Also in these opening laps, the riders, remember, do not get to practice on these GNCC courses. They have to learn the track as they race it. So to try to learn it when you can't see in the dust is tough. Let's talk to Knight.
It's the first race I've done twice now, so I did this last year, so although the weather's totally different, last year it was like nice weather but obviously not dusty, and this year it's going to be super dusty, so just try and get out the start pretty good, and just so I've done it in dusty races before, come from behind, but just need to try and get a good start and get going with the leaders, and yeah, just try and get going and see how it feels out there.
Well, it feels pretty good for Knight to be in second on this track as we see Carney and now Jesse Robinson of the Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki in the hunt. He's been battling with his fellow rookie Josh Strang all year. Strang had a bad race last time out.
The dust was pretty bad. I managed to get up front, close to the front, and then about halfway through I had a crash and hit my head pretty hard. So I thought I was getting tired, but when I finished, my helmet was broken, so I obviously hit my head a bit hard. Yeah, it'll be important to get a good start. The dust looks pretty bad. The first field section doesn't look, it looks all right. I think they've watered a little bit, but definitely once we get out of that, it'll be definitely good to be up front.
Well, he hopes to be up there today as we go back to Knight now, who uses very little energy here early in the race. And that's the advantage of having the good start. He's had some races where he's had to come from behind and really sprint on the first lap, try to get around 10 or 20 riders, and that takes a lot out of you. Now he and Mullins are already on cruise control. They're just learning the lines, learning the track, and then later in the race, I expect to see those two do battle. That's the way it's worked out a couple of times this year. Jarrett, the third position, has to be happy with that. Meanwhile, Glenn Carney's got something to prove today. Has not been on the podium in a long time and is actually struggling to find some support for racing in 2008. His teammates Strang and Jarrett have been finishing in front of him. and he needs to respond today and put that Suzuki on the box and prove that in 2008 he will be a contender and to get a good ride from a good team. Mullins leads Knight around. These two guys, again, very relaxed, as Knight, though, almost made a wrong turn there at the finish. The only rider, I think, who's hitting the panic button right now is going to be Hawk, because we do not see him in the top 3. I don't even know if he's in the top 5. Bring up the leaderboard here, and yeah, you see he's outside of the top 5. Barry Hawk needs to beat David Knight today. He's going to have to hustle to do that. Let's go to our Rocky Mountain Tip of the Week.
Hi, and welcome to this week's Rocky Mountain ATVMC Pro Tip of the Week. My name is Aaron, and this week we're going to talk about brakes. All of your top riders are going to agree that stopping fast is every bit as important as going fast. And Tusk Off-Road has a complete line of brake accessories for you. For starters, they have both carbon and sintered metal brake pads. Your carbon brake pads are going to be perfect for those dry conditions, and they're going to run a little bit cooler than the sintered metal. But when you get in muddy or wet conditions, the sintered metal brake pads are going to be your choice. And on top of brake pads, Tusk Off-Road offers brake pins and standard brake rotors. But their latest release is the Typhoon brake rotor. This brake rotor is made from tempered stainless steel for maximum durability and performance. And the wave-like design actually increases performance and helps your brakes run cooler. And Tusk has everyone covered, with applications fitting both motorcycles and ATVs. And it's actually a steal at only $64.99. For more information, go online at RockyMountainATVMC.com or call for a free catalog.
Racer TV is brought to you by Can-Am, Rocky Mountain, Yamaha, Moose Racing, and KTM. Back to the action. It's Grand National Cross Country Competition here in the hills of eastern Ohio, and Charlie Mullins, an Ohio native, is leading the Englishman David Knight and a fellow Ohio native, Jimmy Jarrett, who's in the number 3 spot. Now, there is some mud on this dusty racetrack when you get in the valleys, and Mullins makes it through that mud hole unscathed, and you can hear the Ohio faithful are happy about that. And Knight has gotten stuck. And this is rare. You very rarely see Knight have trouble in the technical sections. He's had to get off the machine now and push. And that not only cost him time, but energy. Let's talk to Glenn Carney.
Last week in North Carolina, had a worst start of the year, which was a shame. I think I've been top 3 every start all year, and the one that counted in the dust, I was dead last. So that made it hard, but I was happy with how I rode. Had the fastest lap with 2 other guys, so that was good. And, you know, just looking forward to trying to get out front early today and stay out of the dust.
Well, a lot of people are wondering what Carney has lost after that major illness. Back in North Carolina earlier in the year, he collapsed at the finish line of exhaustion. And a lot of people believe now it's just mental. It's very hard to push through the fatigue once you've gone over the wall like he did a couple of months ago. And you can hear there he does have speed and he does have good starts. But I think late in the races, he's just not willing to hang it out over the edge and expend all his energy because, well, he's seeing the dark side of doing that. He actually had to go to the hospital after the race and be treated for dehydration. No change in the leaders. It's still Mullins and Knight. Let's go back to our third-place rider, Jimmy Jarrett, who looked strong early the last time out and then struggled down the stretch.
I got a good start and everything was going well. Charlie got by me and I was right behind him, felt comfortable, and just a lapper just got in between me and him, and I accidentally hit him and fell down and hurt my shoulder a little bit, but everything's good this week, so we'll be ready.
Well, Jarrett looks ready. He's strong in that number 3 position, and he has been a contender. Had some bad luck early in the year, ran out of gas in North Carolina, didn't score any points. If it were not for that, he might even be in contention for the championship. There's Snyder still back there in second. He's happy because Mullins has run in all kinds of bad luck too, so he doesn't have to worry about Mullins for points. Only Hawk, and you see Hawk is just climbing now into the top 5. 2 laps down, 2 laps good for Mullins. Here's Knight, and earlier we had a chance to talk to his mechanic about setting up air filters for these dusty conditions. Okay, for our KTM Spotlight this week, we're down here in the pits with Red Bull KTM factory mechanic Sean Mundy. Dust is certainly a factor in any off-road race, could be a factor today here at the GNCC. Talk about some of the changes you make to the bikes to run better in dusty conditions.
All right, well, we put a little bit of foam throughout the air box to block some of the dust from coming through. But we also have this air filter cover through the hard parts. You can get through there. And we normally put pre-oil just a little bit, and it just slips right on. And then, like, for a quick change, you cut it or take like a razor blade and slice, and you can pull it out. And it works really well.
So the idea is that traps dust, and then partway through the race you take that off, and the filter's still clean.
Yes.
Now, you talk about that. The oiling, I'm sure, is a big part of it as well. Oiling that and oiling the filter itself.
Right. Yes. This you don't have to oil as much as your filter, but you do pre-oil it.
Now, 4-strokes nowadays are pretty reliable, but I guess if you don't have your filter set up right in a dusty race, that's one of the few ways you can really kill one of these bikes.
Yeah. It wouldn't take long just to suck a little bit of dust. For sure, you start to notice the run different. It wouldn't run correctly, so you got to have everything sealed good when it comes to air.
Now, talk about the air box on the KTM is kind of unique, and you're able to make changes during the race.
Yeah, it's easy. We have an easy access cover on the left side of the bike. It just pops off. And it's easy to pull, as you see, and right here in pre-oiled. All you do is the cut right here, and just yank it out, and this pops right back in. And it's done.
So there you go. No tools needed. You can change it during the race, and if you're stranded out on the trail somewhere, you don't have a tool pouch, you're still good to go.
Yeah, the riders can pull over and easily just pop it off and pull it out, no problem.
All right. Thanks, Sean, for the help, and I'm sure the KTM riders appreciate that help, too, on a dusty race like today.
Well, the Yamaha boys not looking too bad either. The people are pumped that Charlie Mullins is going for his second consecutive GNCC win. You see Antti Callanen, the team manager for Red Bull KTM, is telling Nider, use his head, be smart, think championship. It's check out Charlie time right now, and he does not have to go after Mullins. He does not have to win this race because he still has Barry Hawk behind him. Hawk struggling with the bad start. And there's Knight going strong but not closing the gap. Mullins has got to be feeling good today. We talked to him earlier.
Today it's going to be really dry, really dusty, so the start's probably going to be the main factor of the race. And that's the same thing as every week, just get a good start, and it's definitely going to help today. And hopefully if you get the whole shot, you have a good chance of winning. Mainly I'm just focusing on winning these last two races, just prove to everybody that I have the speed and that I can win races. And if somehow I end up winning the championship by winning the last two races, I'll be happy. But this year, I know I've given my best shot, and I'll be ready next year.
Now, a lot of conjecture as to what team Mullins will be riding for next year. Right now, Ampro Yamaha, his current employer, and the FMF Suzuki team are going around and around and around in negotiations. Mullins, only 21 years old, won 2 GNCCs this year, on the podium just about every week when he doesn't have bad luck. He is definitely the star of the future of this tour, and everybody wants him on their team. Seen a lot of Glenn Carney today. This should have been a great year for him because he struggles in muddy races, but most of the races this year, like this, have been on the dry side, but he has not been able to take advantage. Looks like Hawk, though, has. He has gotten around Jarrett, so great job by Hawk to make passes. He's got Jarrett right there behind him. So right now it looks to be GK Carney there in third, Hawk fourth, Jarrett fifth. So we got a battle on our hands, and Barry Hawk, much as expected, is going to come on strong late in this race. I don't know if he's going to be able to catch Mullins. I really don't know if anyone's going to be able to catch Mullins the way he's riding. But for Hawk, well, he's got to get at least up to Nider and finish in front of him for points. We'll be back. Racer TV is brought to you by Can-Am, Rocky Mountain, Yamaha, Moose Racing, and KTM.
We've got a new leader in the pits. It's David Knight. Charlie Mullins is having problems.
All right, Jason Wygant here giving you the call. You hear our cameraman, Jeremy Saylor, alerting everyone something has happened to Charlie Mullins, who had this race seemingly under complete control. Knight out of the pits has got the lead. Now Mullins rides by, so he looks good now. There's Carney, and now Barry Hawk rolling into the Yamaha pit to take on fuel. Not sure what happened to Mullins. Let's go down to Rachel in the pits.
Here we are halfway through the Powerline Park GNCC. We've seen the first turn of events just right now in the pits. We had Charlie Mullins come through. He's been leading all day. Just as he got to the auxiliary part of the pits, something happened with his bike, whether he ran out of gas or had some type of air filter problem. They're not sure at the moment. They gave him gas, hoping that his bike will be okay. David Knight has taken over the lead at this moment. We're going to keep an eye on this battle the rest of the day.
All right, thanks a lot, Rachel. Great report there. And, yeah, we are now hearing that. What happened, Mullins ran out of gas right before the pits. He started pushing his bike, and then a privateer rider, the Thumper Talk Racing pits, gave him some fuel just to get him into his pit so the Yamaha boys could completely fill that gas tank up. But in the meantime, Mullins lost about a minute, and that has allowed Knight to get the lead and to work as hard as Mullins did to stay out front in this dust and to give it back now that has got to be heartbreaking. So let's see if Mullins can try to run Knight down. But this is going to be tough. Once Knight has the lead, he's been very, very hard to pass. In fact, I don't know how many times he's been passed by anyone this year if he has not had any kind of mechanical trouble. Carney is still third. Hawk is fourth. Jarrett just trying to hang on to the top 5. Now we have a report that we've lost Mullins altogether. Not sure what is happening. We found him.
I don't know. I got the whole shot. Was feeling good all day. Then came in for my gas stop and ran out of gas down the straightaway. I had to push it all the way there. Then that allowed Knight to catch up to me, and it just went downhill from there. My bike started missing, and it locked up, and my day's over. It's really disappointing.
Wow, what a turn of events. Mullins was gone. I mean, gone. And Knight was not making up any time on him whatsoever. The KTM people were even signaling for Knight to race smart and not right over his head to try to catch Mullins in the dust. Everything was going in Mullins' direction, and then just like that, it all came apart. I would suspect the engine troubles would probably be traced to that dust. Remember when we talked to Sean Mundy, the Red Bull KTM mechanic earlier, he talked about how these engines take on any dirt that decrease the performance, then eventually the engines lock up. So now it's Carney in the number 2 position, and Jarrett back into third. So he has responded and gotten back around Hawk, and there's not a lot of time left in this race. So Hawk had the break he was looking for, but he was unable to get to Knight, and now he's going to have to fight past 2 Suzuki riders to even finish in the number 2 position today. So this, well, it's getting quite dramatic. Stay tuned to Racer TV. Racer TV is brought to you by Can-Am, Rocky Mountain, Yamaha, Moose Racing, and KTM. Well, KTM has got it in control, and you see the Red Bull KTM pit crew there on the side of the track. They are pumped. Everything has gone the way of David Knight today. He's had some bad luck on occasion this season. Wait, we got a battle on our hands going for second. Hawk was there. Jarrett managed to grab a handful of throttle through that mud, and look how close it is. There's just no room to pass out here in this dust. Hawk going to go to the outside. We have got a knockdown drag out for second. That's valuable championship points. But now back into the dusty section, and you see Jarrett able to put some time on Hawk, hustling through the mud. And this mud bog might have been one of the last spots that Hawk could have made that pass. But he was not close enough because the dust held him back. And Hawk had that second place position. They've been tussling for it for the last couple of laps. But Jarrett, strong down the stretch, is going to hold on, as is David Knight, who wins the ITP Powerline Park GNCC here in Ohio. And through the finish line, Jarrett is going to hold off Hawk. He doesn't care what the point scenarios are. He knows second pays more than third.
Third place overall, Barry Hawk. You started off almost last on the start. You had your work cut out for you.
Jimmy, who do you want to say thank you? Yeah, I don't know what happened on the start there. I just I had in my mind I was going to get the whole shot. I haven't got a whole shot in a long time, and I thought today's a perfect day. And I don't know, I blew it. It took me 3 kicks to get it started. And at that point, there's really no reason to panic, because when you do something, charge extra hard, that's when you make mistakes. And I tried to stay calm and just tried to pick guys off all day. And glad to get up here on the podium in third, but just disappointed. I didn't get a win. So, you can't win them all, but it sure be nice.
Second place overall, Jimmy Jarrett. Congratulations, great ride. It looks like you struggled a little, though.
Yeah, I was fine. I was trying to stay out of the dust berms at the beginning of the race, and Charlie and David got away, but I'm like, I'm just going to finish this race. I knew it was going to be bad, and I don't know where I was passing them guys. I don't know if they were coming in and pitting, but next thing I knew I was in second, and Barry caught me on the last lap, and I just tried to be smooth, and my bike wasn't running very well at the end, but it made it, so I'm happy.
All right, there are your final standings. Congratulations out to Knight, Jarrett, and Hawk. Although, Hawk's not happy with third. He wanted to win this one. The win instead goes to his rival in the series, David Knight. Well done, Knighter.
Well, here we are. The day is concluded. David Knight came out our champion. Congratulations. Tell us about your day.
Tough day today. A good start was important, and I did that for once. I've been practicing yesterday, and that worked good. And just settled down into second really, and just tried to keep out of trouble. I knew the dust was playing a big part on the air filters, and just tried keeping out of trouble and just rode on my own race, and
One more time. You're over on top 3.
And it worked out for him. Knight wins the race. There's Hawk and Jarrett sharing podium space with him. So go to our Yamaha race replay and look at some of the highlights from today's racing. Want to give a shout out to Justin Williamson, who wins our XC2 Lights class today for the Red Bull KTM team. And it was one of his rivals there, Josh Weisenfels. He wasn't the only one to have trouble out here on this rough racetrack. Early in the day, it was Charlie Mullins leading. He would eventually run out of gas and then run into bike troubles. David Knight was able to take over from there and win this thing. Barry Hawk put on a strong charge from deep in the pack to try to make it back to the podium. He was able to get around Glenn Carney in the number 4 Suzuki, but he was not able to get around Jimmy Jarrett, who ends up in the number 2 spot. Hawk is 3rd, and that gives Knight a nice edge at points going to our last race of the year next week in Indiana. For Rachel Ayers, I'm Jason Wygant. Thanks for watching.
The Grand National Cross Country Championship is sanctioned by the American Motorcyclist Association. Rights, riding, racing. AMA. Join now. Call 1-800-AMA-JOIN.